have physical challenges in life, but spiritual warfare is real. You got to get ahead of that thing. You got to get ahead of that thing. And so now, the week or two leading up to an event,
All right. Well, hey, welcome to Code Freedom. I'm super excited to have Tiara Nicole Riley, who's on the show today, and she's going to bring a lot of value. She is a motivational speaker, and she has a very extensive background in a lot of things. She's an author, and she's done a lot of amazing things. So we're excited to have you on the show.
thank you so much for having me. Yes, a lot of things. Whoo, chap.
So tell us about yourself. I mean, just so we know a little bit about who you are.
Yeah.
Um, how did you get into all the things that you're doing, like the motivational speaking and the writing and stuff like that?
Yes, I am the walking embodiment of Philippians 4:13. Let me just say I'm doing all the things. Okay. I am an author. I own a life coaching firm, Rethinking Me. I am a five-time published author. I'm a motivational speaker. I also am on the board for a nonprofit called Sales, and we support families who suffered from pregnancy and infant loss. I am a competitive cheer judge. I am a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. I am doing probably too many things. And I'm very active in my church as well. But my favorite title, I am Caleb's mama. Okay. That is my boo. That's my heart. That's my soul. It is my honor to be the only human walking this earth that will ever get the pleasure of being her mom.
Absolutely. Well, how old is she?
She'll be 3 in April.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
time is flying. That's my boo though. She's amazing. She's literally a mother's dream.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
I've been in the HR industry for about 15 years. But now as a consultant, I'm able to help and support small business owners. Because a lot of times we go into business and HR is the last thing on the list. And it shouldn't be. If you have employees, you need HR, because making HR mistakes can be very costly to businesses. But also, like, let me take some of that work off your plate. So I offer full service HR support, but at an hourly rate. So you don't have to pay a yearly salary just because you pay for the hours that I'm working. So I also do HR consulting. It's too much. It's too much.
Perfect. No, I
I
mean,
told you, Philippians 4:13. I'm doing all the things.
if you have that much value to give, then hey, somebody is ready to receive it.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
So I know that you also wrote 5 books.
Yes.
Um, I'm still trying to get my first book off the ground.
Well, we can talk about it. Let's get it because I think everybody not everybody. There's a lot of people who should be publishing books that haven't. So we could talk about that. But yes, I have had the pleasure of publishing 5 books at this point.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Which one really, I mean, it's hard to say because I mean you put your passion and your
These
soul
are
into
my
it.
children. Hold on now. What you can't pick a favorite child.
Yeah, so I won't say which is your favorite, but I guess I would say which one have you seen a lot of people respond to the most?
No, I think they all serve different purposes.
Mhm.
So because the subjects are all very different conversations, they all serve different purposes. But what I will say, I work with a self-publishing company, Divine Legacy Publishing, and she's my sorority sister as well. The owner is my sorority sister. And after the 5th book, she called me and was like, "Girl!" I was like, "Was it good?" She was like, "Oh my God." I was struck. She said I struggled to edit it because I was too busy like processing and answering the questions and going through it myself. She was like, I had to like shut my brain off and be like, no, 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 focus. So, and I think as I grow as a human, as I go through different experiences in life, they all evolve with me, right? It's kind of like a music artist, who my favorite being Beyonce. But if you listen to her discography, it grows, it develops. She's becoming a better person and she's becoming a more um cultivated artist, right? And so then by proxy, the products that she's producing is going to grow with her. And I'd like to believe that they get better and better with each one. I really do. But again, they all have different purposes. The first one's about self-love. The second one's about persevering. The third is about surviving the grief of miscarriage. The fourth is about entrepreneurship. And then the fifth one is about intentionally creating the life you love. How can you really compare, what has had the biggest impact, because it really just depends on what you're going through in that moment.
Definitely. And my wife and I, we've had a miscarriage a couple times, so I definitely know the struggle there for sure.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I miscarried twins in 2016. And then after, getting through all of that, I was challenged to create the resource I was looking for. And so this is my opportunity to give some tangible support to people who are going through that process and actively grieving. I say actively grieving because grief is lifelong, like you never stop grieving, particularly when it's your child. So I say actively grieving, but just really trying to create that support and resource. But also, there's a chapter dedicated to how do you support people through that process, right? Because if you've never had it, you don't really know how to show up for the people that you care about. So I have a whole chapter dedicated to how to support people who have experienced it.
Good stuff. Well, I mean, you've obviously had to go through a lot of stuff in order to be able to walk people through, especially you talk about the transitional life situations and stuff like that. So, like, tell us a little bit about maybe some kind of a trauma that you've experienced. I know that that's trauma right there, but I'm sure you've gone through a lot more stuff that's made you so strong to be able to just say, hey, let me be a resource for other people so that they don't have to go how I had to go through it.
Yeah, I've had plenty of challenges with mental health throughout my life. I have struggled with depression and anxiety most of my life. I've had experiences with suicidal thoughts and attempts. My youngest attempt, I was 7 years old. And I do try to be honest about that so that people know children are hurting. And I think a lot of times in our community, we present like, what do you got to be sad about? You're a kid, you ain't got to pay no bills. And it's like, well, no, kids have feelings. you know and when you don't have safe spaces to express those feelings, because I'm a child and what do I have to be sad about, it creates opportunity for you to explore other options. And that was I did attempt to take my life. Obviously, it didn't work, and I'm grateful that it didn't work because I think God had a different purpose for me, and He knew I had lives to touch and people to impact. So I've had my challenges with mental health as far back as I can remember. I've had challenges with self-esteem, feeling good enough. Not feeling good enough has been a chronic question my entire that I'm still unpacking, and I'm in therapy every week. Okay, like I'm still unpacking that "Am I good enough?" question. But a lot of that is in the first book. So that is, that journey to self-love and healing and growth and really going after that intentionally. It's been a journey. I've been through what I will say is God's hand is in my life. So although I have had traumatic experiences, it's not as bad as it could have been. Right? Like I've been in an abusive relationship, but it wasn't to the extreme that you see on TV. Right? Like I've been through challenging relationships with both of my parents. But it's not as bad as it could have been. I wasn't abandoned. I wasn't a homeless or orphan or, living on the street or, anything like that. So I do take it with the luxury that my life was not as bad as it could have been. But I did go through things and I'm a very sensitive person. So what might be a 2 to somebody was like an 8 to me. So, I do take that as well. And then also academically, like I was a psychology major in undergrad. I've been working in HR for all these years. So I understand people in a different way. And then now working in the life coaching space and all of that, I just have a different relationship with mental and emotional well-being. I do. So I have the academic and the professional experience, but I also have the lived experience. I know what it feels like to want to take your own life. Feeling to people who have never felt suicidal, it feels so illogical. But to people who have experienced it, I get it. I get it. There's no logic to it. So it just gives you a different ability to empathize and sympathize with people when you have had either that or a closely related experience.
I remember being a broke college student and wanting to be financially free, wanting to really have a life of freedom, but I just didn't know how. I didn't have any mentorship, any coaching, any guidance, didn't even know what kind of business to start. But I found something, a vehicle that had a proven system, had mentors and coaches, had all the resources and everything that I needed to really build a successful business with little overhead, that I could work from home, I could do part-time, and really do it in my own time. And so if you're looking for a vehicle like that and you'd like to give it a shot, hey, reach out to me. Let's connect. Go to eddiebales.com, or you can go down in the description below and you can click on that link. I look forward to connecting with you. And hey, we've already helped tons of other people, and we look forward to helping you on your journey to freedom as well. Yeah, that's powerful. Some of the things you mentioned, I know you said you're still kind of growing through, but what are some of the things that you've done to help you get past some of that so that you can stand on, maybe I guess I'll say, the top of the mountain, so to speak, and say, hey, here's what I did to kind of get through here, through this season or through this challenge.
Yeah. So that's book number 5, actually. Rethinking Me is all about intentionally creating the life you love. It's not just something that I just put together, it's something I lived, right? Like I experienced it first. And when I got through it, I was like, wait, you can enjoy your life? More people have to know this. You know what I mean? Like, wait, oh my God, I have to tell the world. You can actually create a life you love. Like, let's do it, right? But I had to experience it. I had to see it. I had to be exposed to it. And so this is me exposing people to it. But the book is a 10-step guide to intentionally creating the life you love. And if you cannot say, I love, like, not every day is perfect, but if you cannot say on a general scale, I love my life, we got work to do. We got
Yeah,
work.
I think it's,
But I will say therapy. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I have been in therapy on and off since college, but since the moment I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, I've been in either weekly or biweekly sessions because I'm very intentional about um, addressing my pain so that I don't transfer it.
yeah,
So therapy, I'm really intentional about my self-care routine. I'm really intentional about my mental and emotional well-being. I'm constantly reading books to improve myself. I don't read for leisure, which I probably should, but I don't read for leisure. I read for improvement and development. I listen to podcasts. I journal on a daily basis. I have friends that hold me accountable. Your friends should not just be telling you, yeah, girl, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You need friends that's gonna be like, nah, sis. Literally, it happened this week. She said, I don't know if I'm missing context here, but it looked like you're picking a fight. Like, but you need people who are gonna tell you that, right? Like you need
call you
people
out.
who are gonna call you out with love, right? Loving accountability. You need safe spaces to be vulnerable, and you need loving accountability, and you need people who are going to walk you through some of these challenges that you're going through.
Yeah, yeah, that's strong. That's strong, and we need a community because we're not meant to do life alone. And as we do that, we need people who can have different strengths and skill sets who can help us with those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't hurt that one of my best friends actually is a therapist. That don't hurt at all. She's not my therapist because I think that's inappropriate, but it changes the conversation. I'll tell you that. It do. Especially because again, I have a background in psychology. So we're able to have conversations on a different level, right? Like we're like, okay, I know this is what's showing up. What do I do about it? Like we're able to kind of deep dive in a different kind of way too. But and vice versa. Like it's a two-way conversation. Like we, are able to support each other in a different kind of way. But it's really interesting when you get two psych majors in one conversation. It's
I can
interesting.
imagine. I can imagine because I'm already getting excited about what that conversation could be like.
Yeah, it's different.
I
Sometimes
have
I'll call. Oh, go ahead. I
I
was
have
gonna say,
oh,
sometimes I call her just to be like, okay, help me process because I know what I know and I know what I feel. We need to figure this one out. So yeah, no, it's cool though.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't have a psychology background, but I do study people a lot. And I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years now, and so I can understand what some of those conversations could be like on a deep
Absolutely.
level. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
like just the fact that we have trauma from childhood and it shows up in our adulthood, and we don't even know why we behave certain ways just because of, things that went on that we haven't really healed from. Just those
Yeah.
type of things. You
Yes.
know,
And I will say the one, if anything that we just said is curious to you, just Google the attachment theory. Baby,
mm,
it will unlock so many things for you. Be like, that makes sense.
yeah.
Because
Wow.
it impacts and the interesting thing about the attachment theory is your attachment style is developed within the first 18 months of your life, and it sticks with you for the rest of your life unless you are intentional and hell-bent on fixing it.
It's amazing that you say that because I'm studying right now about awareness.
Mhm.
And just the fact that we have to be aware, like we have to think about what we're thinking about, because
Yeah.
sometimes our thoughts can just go on autopilot and we never stop to say, hey, wait a minute, I don't really
I don't
want to
know.
think this
Yeah.
way.
And that's the thing about accountability too. So the conversation I had with my friend where she was like, whoa, that accountability and her feeling safe to be honest with me in that moment and say, nah, you the problem right now. Like what am I don't know what I'm missing, but you the problem. It seems like it's you, right? And that pushback in a caring and loving way, but that pushback prompted me to realize like, oh, I'm reacting out of trauma. Oh, I didn't even realize I was responding from a traumatic place, and I still have healing to grow in this area.
I think we all know that readers are leaders. And if you want to become better, we got to get better. And in order to do that, we got to get information, access to information that we just don't have. And so maybe you're not the type of person that has the time to kind of sit down and read a book. You're always on the go. Listen, I have something special for you. If you go to the description down below, there is a link where you can get a free Audible account for 30 days. And you can listen while you're in the car. We call it Drive Time University, where you can, when your hands are busy but your mind is free, you can pour into your mind and get personal development and self-growth. You can almost get what I call a degree in the car, if that makes sense, by plugging into all the great information out there through Audible. So go to audibletrial.com/code freedom and you can get a free 30-day account with Audible. It takes a real friend to be able to do that, because a
Yeah.
friend is thinking, hey, I don't want you to be mad at me. I don't want to be on your bad side. But you got to call it out if you see it, because that's what a real friend would do, you
Yeah.
know?
I don't want friends that don't be honest with me.
Right.
We can't be friends. If you can't be honest with me, we can't be friends.
That's good. That's good. Well, man, this is I'm enjoying this so far. Tell us about maybe an experience where someone has read one of your books, or maybe somebody you've coached, and they kind of have had a breakthrough based on some of the things that you shared with them.
Yeah, I literally the I'll get there, but that kind of response, when I get those kind of responses, that's what keeps me going. When people read a book and they email me and be like, "Oh my God, this is exactly what I needed," or hear me speak at when I'm doing motivational speaking and they pull me aside at the end and they're like, oh my God, this was exactly what I need in this moment. Or when I post, I have a YouTube channel. When I post a video and somebody will hit me up or comment and be like, this is exactly what I need in that moment. Those are the things that really get me through. And it really reminds me that I'm impacting people. And what I've realized and what actually prompted me to publish the first book was because the first book started as a journal. It wasn't intended to be a book. I was just journaling because writing is helpful for me. God told me to type it. I did. And then I was in a small group with my church, and one of the women stood up and she said, she was asking for prayer. Her daughter had attempted to take her own life. And she was like, I don't know how to help her. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And so I went up to her after the group session and I said to her, I said, I've dealt with depression, I've dealt with suicide. If there's anything I can do to help, I gave her my number, like let me know. She called me about a week later and said that she had been date raped and that triggered her suicidal and she tried to take her life again. She was hospitalized that time. And I was able to have a conversation with her. And she was like, I feel like everything I say is just making it worse. And so I was able to have a conversation with her. I didn't know her daughter, but I was said, I was able to say, I wish my mother would have said this or done this. I wish instead of solutions, we would have had opportunities for her to just ask me, what do I need? Because had my mother asked me, what do I need? It wasn't solutions to my problems. I would have said, I just want to sit in the bed and watch movies with you and eat good food, right? I think a lot of times when we care about our the people we love, we want to fix their problems, and sometimes it's just showing up, right? But we were able to have the conversation, and I was able to, and I shared her the digital copy of the book at the time, and I was able to really just, from my vantage point, offer some of the things that maybe her daughter couldn't say, right? Because I know when I was going through my experiences, I didn't have the words, right? And so that was the first time I was actually grateful to have gone through what I had been through with my mental health journey because I was able to help somebody else with theirs. Right. Like it was rewarding to be able to be in a position to help somebody. Or when I have people who people will call me, like people in my personal circle, they'll call me and be like, my sister, friend, cousin, daughter, niece had a miscarriage. What do I do? When I'm able to have those conversations and gift them one of the books, Life After Loss is specifically to support that, right? When I'm able to say, just mail the book, or people I know, and just to be able to just give away that resource as often as I can, those are the moments that remind me that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
And it's got to feel good knowing that you're in your divine purpose because you're
Yes.
helping somebody else, and they're getting value that could change their whole outlook on life
Yes.
just because of something that you and then when you're in that moment, it feels like, hey, what I went through was really really bad, but at least I'm using it for good.
Yes. And it really makes me feel better about it. It makes me feel like it was worth it. Like it was painful, but it was worth it. And I remember when I delivered the twins and having to, because I was 5.5 months pregnant when I ended up delivering them. And I remember walking out of that hospital making a silent promise to them. I said, this pain will have purpose. It will. It has to. This pain cannot just exist just because. I will find purpose for this pain. And that's what kind of led me down the road that I'm in now. But it really was just, I was hell bent that I wasn't going to just go through this pain just because. I had to find meaning and purpose to get through it. And when I got through the healing journey, I realized like this is my purpose. And I would spend years like, what is my purpose in this world? I don't know. I'm a second generation entrepreneur. So I always figured I would go into business. I just never knew what. Like nothing really clicked, nothing fit, nothing landed. And I was like, what am I going to do? I don't know. What is my purpose? And I actually this morning I was like, I really get to walk in my purpose every day. And I'm so honored. I'm so honored to now not only know, but to walk in it. It's a beautiful thing.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. I love that. Well, this has been really good. Is there any last words that you want to share to the audience?
Yes, I want to share a quote that has been getting me through. I want to share two things. Can I? Okay. So the first thing I want to share is a quote that has been getting me through a lot. And it is, you can do anything, but not everything. You can do anything, but not everything. And that's something that I have to hold on to and making sure that I'm not just doing good things, but I'm doing what God told me to do in this moment. Because when I say I'm the walking embodiment of Philippians 4:13, like he will give me the ability to do all of the things he called me to do. But when I try to put other stuff on that plate, it's too much. It's too much. But I'm able to do all that I'm able to do because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And when you're doing what you're supposed to do, magically you have capacity. Magically, the time just fits, right? Like everything just flows organically. So there's that. And the other thing that I feel led to really talk about is fear. I feel like fear keeps a lot of people from doing what they're supposed to do because we feel like if I'm afraid to do it, I must not be supposed to do it. I want to challenge how we look at fear. And it does come from a scripturally based concept, right? My childhood church was First Baptist of Glenard, and Pastor John K. Jenkins. I remember hearing him like talk about this concept of fear, and it stuck. And obviously, I'm paraphrasing because it was many years ago. But we know that God did not give us fear, right? And so if God didn't give you fear, it came from the devil, right? And so the devil can see down the road and see that if you do this, this will be the impact. And he also knows he cannot stop the impact. So he uses fear to get you to stop you so that you don't produce that impact. Right. And so when I heard that conversation, I had to like it was a game changer for me. So now when I experience fear, I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. Let's go. Like, I'm ready. Like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean the fear goes away. But because I know that fear is a tool that the devil uses to get me to stop me from making the impact that I'm going to make, I'm like, it's reinforcement, it's confirmation. It's like, okay, we just going to do it afraid. And the show goes on. Let's figure it out. And I remember realizing that, so I've done events and conferences and all of these things all these years. And the week before an event, my personal life is in shambles every time. Every time, if I have a big event coming up, some like my every fire you can imagine goes off in my personal life until one day I realized, oh, you're trying to get me to give up. Got it. Like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like it changes how you look at it. Like it changes how you look at it. And so now I brace myself. I'm like, oh, big event coming up at the end of the week. I'm gonna get in church. I'm gonna be prayed up. I'm gonna make sure I'm praying over this business, praying over this event. Like we're gonna shut this down spiritually. Because a lot of people don't realize you have physical challenges in life, but spiritual warfare is real. You got to get ahead of that thing. You got to get ahead of that thing. And so now, the week or two leading up to an event, I'm every day praying about it, making sure that it's, coming to fruition and everything falls into place. And it do. And it's always impactful. And that just is a really honor. I really get to do what I was called to do. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it here. Love it
Yeah,
here.
I'm excited. I mean, this is you dropped so many nuggets, so many gems, and let me ask you,
Yeah.
what's the zodiac sign?
I'm a Libra.
Okay, okay. You
I
sounded
should
like
have made you guess. I was like, I should have made you guess first.
well, it sounded like you had some Capricorn tendencies.
No, and I don't even think I know any Capricorns. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, yeah,
Because that's what, December, January?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Well, you're
not
looking at one right now.
well now I do. Yeah, no, I'm a Libra and I am as true to form as a Libra comes. If you Google Libra's personality types and traits, that is me.
Hmm.
I am very I'm very much a Libra. I remember in college, and one of my friends, he was like, when I'm struggling, like you uplift me, you there, and when I'm in a good mood, you get on my last nerves. And I was like, balance. Balance. What do you want from me?
Right, right.
Listen, this is what I do. Okay. I give the people what they need. Okay. If you
Right.
need somebody to, crack jokes with and lift the mood, I got you. I got you. If
Uh,
you get too much dip on your chip, I got you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got you.
good stuff. Well, how can the audience members reach out to you if they want to connect with you, get any of your books or anything that you're doing?
So I'm on all social media platforms at Tiara Nicole Riley. Holla at your girl, slide in my DMs respectfully. But say hi, all the things, ask questions, pick my brain. My business is at Rethinking Me LLC on all platforms, and our website is rethinkingmellc.com.
All right, and we'll put this down in the description below. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.